Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm not going to be playing another tier 8 premium tank, but I'm going to be playing, in my opinion, a very underrated tier 8 tech tree tank that is currently top of the tree that everybody could easily be able to get their hands on. This is the 53 TP Markowskiego, and it is the tier 8 Polish heavy tank. This vehicle actually achieves some of my best statistics of any tier 8 tank in the game, let alone it being a tech tree tank and not being a premium vehicle. And while it's not because it has ridiculously good frontal armor, it's not because it has the best damage per minute or even the highest alpha damage at tier 8, but what this tank does have is it just seems to blend a lot of statistics together that if you're a fairly offensive player, you should be able to do well in this tank. Now I can imagine there's a lot of you out there who have probably played the 53 TP and are thinking, what, this vehicle? When I played this tank, it was absolutely horrendous. But when you take a look at the statistics of the vehicle, you start to maybe realize that it's not a traditional heavy tank. It's more of this kind of like pseudo-medium heavy, but it is more of a medium without the camera rating that still packs 420 alpha damage. I think one of the reasons why I enjoy this vehicle so much is because of that. When we think about alpha damage in World of Tanks at tier 8, we think about vehicles like the Defender, we think about vehicles like the Caliban, and even vehicles like the side-scraping VK that has 490 alpha damage. Alpha damage seems to be going up and up and up, but the Markowskiego has quietly existed in the game with an impressive amount of alpha damage for many years. And this vehicle, it hasn't been buffed, and at least for me, it kind of stands the test of time. And I think it's thoroughly underrated, and I don't see many people giving this tank the attention that it deserves. The 420 alpha damage on this vehicle is not bad, considering that the tank also packs nearly 2,000 damage per minute. Most tier 8 heavy tanks that have decent amounts of alpha damage probably are only packing about 1,600 or 1,700 damage per minute. Think about the T-34, for example, which actually has less damage per minute than this, but actually only has 1,600 DPM. And vehicles like the Defender, which have 440, are packing about the same amount with regards to damage per minute. Did you just hear that drill? I might have to pause and put my filter on. Sounds like yeah, the neighbors are doing more renovations. Okay, now we're back, and hopefully, even if the drill appears again, it won't be picking up on the audio. I have been currently in a sandwich. My neighbors to the left, neighbors to the right are both having renovations to the house, and I feel like they're almost competing sometimes. But my neighbors are lovely, and look, everything has to happen, it's understandable. But yeah, when you're recording audio for a side hustle on YouTube, then sometimes it can get a little bit awkward. But let me go back to talking about this tank. And that is that I really feel like this tank has a bit of a sweet spot when it comes to alpha damage and also damage per minute on the tank. It's not like a Defender or like the side-scraping German VK, where you're really sacrificing your damage per minute to be able to get alpha damage. And it's not kind of like the ill-fated M3Y, where that's not a bad tank at tier 8, by the way, but you have to sacrifice all of your alpha damage to be able to gain DPM. The Markowskiego for me just has this awesome sweet spot where I feel like I can outtrade mediums, but when I'm fighting against heavies that have higher alpha damage than me, then I can often get multiple shots in. And so that is where I feel like this vehicle has the sweet spot. I'll tell you something that definitely wasn't sweet in this game, however, was hanging around for just a little too long in that alleyway, losing over 600 hit points to 2 great shots from the artillery, and also taking a hit from the recently buffed AMX 65T. So I definitely stayed there for a little too long. I should have got out of that alleyway, I should have respected the artillery, and now I've had to go away with substantially less hit points to be able to lick my wounds, unable to finish off the Jagdtiger with that high explosive round. It just ended up awkwardly not being able to engage the 65 TP because I don't have the best of crews on this tank and I don't have intuition to make those quick switches. Alright, let's reassess the situation. My team is down by 3,000 hit points and we're down a kill, but with shots like this into the side of the AMX 65T, we should be okay. Oh dear, artillery still continuing to harass me here, and I feel like I've lost the vast majority of my hit points to that self-propelled gun, but it's my fault for chilling out in the open in this scenario. Okay, this game is starting to look a little more ugly now. We are down by still 2,000 hit points, down by a couple of tanks, and unfortunately they're going to start to make their way in towards our base. I've just got to hope that the Borask on our team, whose name is Bao Shu Machet. Sorry, that was the artillery. What am I talking about? Go Tengri, who's protecting the base right now, is going to be able to hold off the enemy Borask. Clutch shot there against the AMX M451, but unable to be able to hit the crown that weighs heavy on top of the very decent Tier 9 French Heavy's head. The gun handling on this vehicle as well is something that you can improve with vert stabs very easily without feeling that the tank is too slow. And that's because the vehicle has an impressive 40 forwards and also 16 backwards, and its power to weight ratio is nearly 14 horsepower per ton, which means that the 53 TP actually kind of waltzes around the battlefield. And to add on to that, 8 degrees of gun depression as well. While it's not perfect, it gives you the same amount of gun depression that the Tier 8 Polish premium heavy tank, the 50 TP prototype, will be able to achieve. And that is going to allow us to waltz into position to be able to shut down the AMX M451, picking up our second kill of the game. But we've still got our work cut out for us. And I'm hoping to have a little bit of a discussion, so to say, with the GW Tiger in the corner of the map. Coming around the corner here, I'd also like to have a few words with the M40 M43, who has been harassing me this entire game. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're quite able to catch the artillery. I gotta be careful here. There's a platoon of Skoda T27s who seem to be very healthy at this stage of the game, and that is not going to be helpful for me trying to get through this one. But hopefully the Skoda, is he going to come around the corner and try and harass me? Probably will, considering I was spotted on so low hit points. And boom, there we go. That's a good way to start to get back into this game, as we remove a good chunk of HP from the Skoda T27. And this is my opportunity to hold the line of fire here. They've got the hit points, they've got the autoloaders, but they aren't really going to be able to go through this thing's turret, because the front of this thing's turret is kind of like about 250, if not 300 millimeters thick. It does have a weak point on top that you've got to worry about. The hull also sucks unless you're side scraping, or even reverse side scraping in a vehicle like this, but be careful with the extra flap that you have over the tracks. But this vehicle's turret armor is surprisingly efficient, and outside of the weak point, ooh, HE round there into the top of the Borask, lowering their hit points enough so that we should be able to finish them off with an AP shell now. Beautiful shot there against the Borask, and unfortunately still a little bit of a low roll. The HE shells on this tank do 550 damage on average, and we do 536 to the Borask, and unfortunately for me, my artillery fails to do any damage to the Borask, which now means that we're still not guaranteed whether we're going to be taking them out in a single shot. Although with 420 alpha damage, you'd hope that the 370 hit points that they have left will be well within the reach for a one-shot. Okay, so I'm feeling fairly out of position here right now. Just don't want to get spotted by the Borask, because the artillery have shown that they know how to click, all right? They have liberally applied lubricant to... Let's move on. That was not the analogy that I was going for. You know, to facilitate the clicking of the mouse, because it can get a little bit of stress, can get a little bit stressful in World of Tanks, right? Let's not go there. Let's move on. Focus back on the gameplay, QuickyBabs. And that is that obviously I don't want to get caught by the Borask, otherwise the artillery is going to be able to dump a horrible round on my vehicle. I mean, I've only got 288 hit points, and that the M43 has actually hit me for just that amount a couple of times already this game. I don't stand much chance. So in this scenario, I'm just staying put. I'm getting the ambush shot because I expected the Borask would have to try and flank. If I can lock down this position and I can stop the Borask from coming in and flanking the CC Mark 1, then I thought that the Italian Tier 9 tank destroyer would be able to mince their way through the town. So the Skoda T27 unfortunately finds our artillery, and I decide that I can't really hang around here, because if I do, I'm just doing a bit of a test to see whether my Sixth Sense goes off. Now that Sixth Sense hasn't gone off, I know that it's time to go and link back up with the CC1 Mark II, otherwise autoloaders are going to be able to get his side. So in this scenario, I'm thinking, what would I do if I was the Borask in this situation? And I thought to myself that the Borask will probably sneak in. He's probably either going to go along this alleyway, or he's going to go along this alleyway to try and sneak in behind the CC1 Mark II. So I've decided to try and intercept the Borask. And remember, they are down to 376 hit points, so it should be a one-shot for our 420 Alpha. Yeah, not if you roll minus 66 damage, leaving the Borask on 22 hit points. Oof, sir. And now we begin our 1 versus 4 scenario. Although it looks like both of the enemy vehicles are a one-shot. So I'm not going to chase the Borask in this scenario. I've got to be aggressive, otherwise the artillery are going to get me. We're going to come around the corner. The Skoda misses us. We're going to clutch shot. And now I expect that the Borask is going to come from this corner, so I'm going to drive this way. But of course, now the Borask actually managed to get our side. We lurch forwards and we clutch shot the Borask in the side, narrowly avoiding death from one artillery shell. We reverse away again and avoid the other artillery shell as well. And now down to 127 hit points. Oh dear, this is pretty tense stuff. I'm actually going to load an HE shell here because the low roll on the Borask has definitely put me on the back foot. And I want to make sure that I can finish off this M40-43. And as long as I hit them towards the upper part of their armor, I should be able to finish them off. But we've already reduced our 1 versus 4 now into a 1 versus 2. And I'm just hoping I can manage to catch them. And the artillery is actually deciding they want to get forwards to try and spot. That's a valiant play. Luckily for me, I managed to fully aim before they spot us and shut down the M40-43. And now I'm just hoping that I can use this building to be able to avoid the GW Tiger, who I know is in the northeast of this map. So right now it's about resetting my vision, staying chill behind here, just waiting for a little bit, seeing if he's going to blind fire. Now I need to get away from there because he might be trying to reposition to splash me behind, trying to avoid knocking down any fences that I possibly can in this scenario. But it looks like I'm going to have to actually knock one down there, which is a bit of a shame. Now, it's tense. 1 versus 1, but oh, there we go. Hello, GW Tiger. And luckily for me, they are on low enough hit points that we can shut them down and pick up a top gun with 5,600 damage and 900 assistance in the 53 TP. This was a cracking game to have occur during my Tech Tree Showcase 9 days ago now. Even though it feels like yesterday, time seems to be flowing so quickly. I can't believe it's nearly the end of September and that we have the last Waffenträger event to look forward to coming right up. This tank always seems to just surprise me. Maybe it's because it's not premium and I have low expectations for it. But when you have those low expectations, it's very easy to be able to exceed them. And so maybe I'm just looking at this with kind of rose-tinted glasses in a way. But I love this vehicle. And while it's not a tank that I would want to take out onto the battlefield every single evening, because there are other premium tanks which are better and will also make me filthy amounts of credits, it's really nice that there's a vehicle inside a tech tree that is really underrated and so surprisingly comfortable to play. It's this combination of the speed, the turret armor, the alpha damage, the DPM. Why not try out the 53 TP Markovskigo this month while it's top of the tree? And if you like a fast, aggressive playstyle where you use your firepower to do the talking, yeah, this one might be the one for you, and it won't cost you $40 inside the premium store to get it. So an ace tanker here for 1,736 base experience. Oof, 2 thumbs up for a tech tree tank for me for that. However, we did fire a lot of gold rounds, but we still make a good amount of profit. With our premium account, we get a Pascucci's medal for finishing off 2 self-propelled guns, a tank sniper for dealing most of that at long range. Even though it was only 2,000 damage dealt at over 300 meters, it was definitely more of a close quarters combat kind of map here on Runeberg. A top gun for the 6 kills and a high caliber for that 5,500 damage dealt. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, hopefully an exciting 1 versus 4 finish in a tech tree tank and not a premium vehicle. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, however, give it a thumbs down, and let me know in the comments down below if you have played the 53 TP Markovskigo. Did it work out for you? Did it not work out for you? And what are you grinding for currently in World of Tanks? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.